And so happy to have this crowd here to welcome Academy Award-winning actor Matthew McConaughey. We are going to spend the next half hour talking about making America's schools safer. We have educators and parents here in our studio. Matthew, you announced the launch of this initiative, this Greenlights Grant, a while back. Tell everybody why you did it.
So, after the tragedy in Uvalde, a year later, the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act was passed. Billions of dollars were agreed to go into schools to help safen them physically and also with mental health counselors. 4 or so months afterwards, Representative Tony Gonzalez from Texas, who one of his districts is Uvalde, calls Camila and I and says, "Can I meet with y'all?" I said, "Sure." He goes, "I got 119 districts." He goes, "Like 12 have filed out of 119, and 0 have been granted." We looked around the nation, noticed that nobody was filing. These districts that needed it, no one was filing. So there was a big awareness problem. We were like, no one knows about this? No one knows that that money's there, number one. Then we had schools that, oh, we know, but we're not touching it because the grant writing process is way too difficult, too intimidating. I'm a superintendent, I'm teaching, I'm running the school, I'm running the PTA, I'm driving the bus. I don't have time or expertise to do this. So we said, there's a problem that needs to be fixed, because it was obvious one thing. The government wants these grants to be allocated. They want them to be spent. They want to see where the need is and allocate the money. So the Greenlight Grant Initiative is a connector between the schools in need, highest risk, lowest capacity schools, to the government agencies to say, we have proven our need for this money to help safen our schools. And that has not been an easy task. It's a lot of red tape. It's very complicated. We're simplifying that process so schools can be heard.
Let's show everyone how it's working.
Good morning, everybody.
It has been a year since Matthew McConaughey and wife Camila founded the Greenlights Grant Initiative.
Here we go.
It helps school districts nationwide locate and apply for federal grants.
That's money to pay for mental health resources and security.
The initiative has provided free grant writing services to 30 school districts, 4 of which secured more than $1 million in funding, made available by the historic Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. It was signed into law in June of 2022, a month after 19 students and 2 teachers were killed at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas, McConaughey's hometown.
We need background checks. We need to raise the minimum age to purchase an AR-15 rifle.
McConaughey's mission is already making an impact. One school district in Missouri credits the initiative with helping it secure a grant to improve school climate and culture. Just a month into their school year, a newly launched teacher-student walking club is already building momentum.
It makes a difference if kids feel seen and heard, and the impacts of that will extend far beyond this time and place in the lives of those young people.
Greenlight Grant Initiative is trained over 2,000 administrators, and as we heard George say in the piece, in 30 school districts. So what kind of programs are these grants funding in the schools?
So we have a community of over 20,000 districts. All right, that's because we have a webinar, which anyone at any time can go to greenlightsgrantinitiative.org and find out, how to navigate a grant. We've trained 2,000 different school districts and superintendents. We've assigned a grant writer physically to 225 schools. Now again, there's 2 main buckets. There's the safening of the school, physically safening, a word called hardening or what you want to call it, and then there's the mental health. We've crossed schools that had 1 mental health counselor for 3,000 students. The average in the U.S., which I just found out, was 1 mental health counselor for 750 students. I think we can all agree that's not enough. So, you're going to hear the story about the Missouri districts here shortly. We had a great ROI on that, $41,000 worth of a grant writer on them. They received $1.18 million to help save their school and get more mental health counseling and stuff for their students, which is needed, and I think we all agree with that. So it's very complicated. There's a menu on these grants. I did not know. The different departments have a menu, and the schools let us know what they need, and we help them define that need to the government, and the government is going, please define it to me. We have the money. We want to give you the funds, but it's a competition. I did not know this. It is a competition. So That's what we need to do, is everyone hustle here and compete for these grants, because the best thing we can do is get them all allocated.
Yeah,
because they're going to run out by 2026. And y'all know what happens if they're not all spent by 2026. The money's going somewhere else. We prove the need. They spend the money, they will refund these things, and we'll keep making our schools safe.
That is so key. That is so key. And to see your passion about this, and I don't have to tell you about this. The CDC came out with new numbers that shows guns still the leading cause of death when it comes to children. You mentioned about the bipartisan act, which is great. What more would you like to see lawmakers do?
Okay. Look, let's be honest. The Greenlight Grant Initiative, is this the cure? Hell no. It's a solid step forward to prevent. No doubt about that. And it could be momentum, and we have to prove that it's going to work, and just prove how it's working, like I said, and get those funds allocated. Look, this is a continuous conversation. We just had a new conversation coming up after what happened in Georgia about what's the parent's responsibility. Well, let's admit it. To some extent, it starts at home with the parents. What's the first extension of the home? The schools. So teachers and superintendents, and communication between counselors, and communication with your local law enforcement for threat assessment. We can do a lot better as a community. So we're going to have to keep doing what we can on our own as parents, as teachers, as superintendents, as lawmakers, as grant writers, as universities out there who we've had a couple partner with us, Arizona State and NYU. And as far as lawmakers, look, we can't get this issue put on the bottom of the deck. They got a lot to do. We have to keep this issue on top of the deck. It's still happening, tragically wise. We see it in our news feed and in our culture. It just happened again, and it will happen again in the future. We have to keep this subject with an edge to it. We have to keep it on top of our consciousness. Lawmakers, with enough pressure, it helps them keep it on top of their desk and do something about it. And hopefully keep refunding things like they did the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. Because our job security, if this is the job to try to make schools safer, we have good job security for a long time.